Good morning, students. This is Mr. Farmer speaking, and I just wanted to review lesson 16 on the respiratory system with you. So there is, not a lot of questions after you've done the reading. If you do the reading and you watch this video, you should have pretty much all the information you need to fill out and do the worksheets for this week. But I just want to review a couple things. Now remember, we talked about the blood. We talked about the circulatory system and how blood gets oxygen. Now this kind of puts all the pieces together here with the respiratory system. See, when you breathe in and air goes into your mouth, it's rich in oxygen. And that oxygen-rich air goes down into your throat, back of your throat, and then it breaks off into something called your trachea. Another word for your trachea is your windpipe. And you notice this division between your esophagus and your windpipe. When you drink something fast and you start to choke, and you say, or somebody said before in your past, probably an adult, it went down the wrong pipe. Well, that's because only oxygen and air is supposed to enter the trachea or the windpipe. So whenever a little bit of liquid gets in there, it makes you choke and you try to cough it back up. So what happens is the air then goes into the windpipe, which is kind of capped off or protected by a layer of skin, a flap of skin. And so that protects from other things like food getting into your windpipe. Anyway, the windpipe goes and branches off into two spots. So these are called the bronchi. All right, and it's the two tubes that go off, that branch off from your trachea, and it takes the air one to your one side of your lung. You have two lungs, so one in one lung and one in the other lung. So if you hear the word bronchi, that's just the trachea divides in two. That's called the bronchi, and then that bronchi lets the air, directs the air into the lungs. Now the air goes to little tiny air sacs right at the outside of your lungs. And this is where the transfer of carbon dioxide and oxygen occur. So what happens is this oxygenated air goes into your air sacs, and blood comes right up along these air sacs. So the oxygen goes into the blood. Remember, we talked about oxygen needs blood when it's blue or it's full of carbon dioxide. So the oxygen that you just breathed goes all the way down and through to these air sacs and then leaves the air sacs and goes into the blood. Now, funny, at the same time, which is pretty amazing, the carbon dioxide that is in this blood that your body doesn't need goes and exchanges and goes in through the air sacs. So these little air sacs called alveoli or alveoli, they have this is the area where there's this exchange of gases. So the oxygen that you need goes into your blood, and then the carbon dioxide that your body no longer needs comes out of your blood and goes back in through these little air sacs, back up, all the way out through your trachea, and you breathe out. And so when you breathe out, that's why you breathe out mostly carbon dioxide. Other wastes that come out of your mouth is some wastewater and heat. That's why when you breathe out, you have your air is hot. That's why you have hot air. So when you breathe out, hot air is expelled, and a little bit of like water or moisture, you can tell when you go up to a car window or a mirror and you breathe and it fogs up a little bit. That's the little bit of moisture or water that's expelled out through your lungs and out of your mouth. And that's kind of how it works. That's the different parts. As you just read carefully through, it should explain everything. If you have any other questions, get the questions out to me through Remind or through Google Classroom. So anyway, enjoy the lesson. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.